we doing today? Something about, do you have cajones? No, do you have the cajon? Right. Yes. How's the sound today? Oh, I know something I haven't done. Let's wake this thing up. And he is there. How about that? Hello, Michael. I'm just going to mute my mic to you because we're live. I seem to have a railway-induced radio announcer's voice this morning. Something to do with doing all 12 hours yesterday. Good fun. Alrighty, so we've got two. We got in the chat Michael Newberry, Northern Illinois TV, who has changed his channel name again and will now be known forever as Funky Lad. And we have Crazy Dash. Hello, Crazy Dash, and Katoni Shiomi. How are you? We're going to do some cajon. Is that surprising at all? Probably not. We're going to run this one from Barstow to Los Angeles, which goes from Barstow to Hesperia, and then we're going to run this one that goes further. And if we still feel like it, we'll have some fun with an SD40 thing. And Katoni Shiomi is going to take a break for a few months. I'm sad, but I will, but that's for the best. Okay. Cool bananas. And Crazy Dash is doing some studying. And a relatively cool screenshot here from Crazy Killer. It's like Crazy Dash, but he kills people. Now, I haven't run this service before. And I think, given it's already sunset, we may end up in the dark at some point. That's okay. Now, what do we got? Just locomotives. Yeah, okay. So this service is more like a scenario. Very good. Probably don't need banking com turned on, but I will. What about some lights? How about a reversey thing, generatory thing, some gauge lights, honky thing. I should check where we're going too, I suppose, shouldn't I? Come on, go into forwards. Go on, just one notch. I don't want to set it to release game. I wanted to do it after I apply power, like real train people do. Now, which way am I facing? Let's wait for it to move now. No, it's going to go the wrong way. Fine. Has to go the other way. Through the shed. Good-o. Let's get the points set up. We're missing a train. I have noticed that some of the services are more like scenarios. I kind of like it. Alright, there's our train. So I actually want to go backwards. I better keep the donger on, because we're going to be driving through a shed, apparently. Back we go. I'm vaguely tempted to take some other locomotives, just, you know, because I could. Better keep it going slow. Yeah, there are services that use the Loco Shops, Crazy Dash. Let me just turn this down so I don't yell at you. And Funky Lad's now on his phone. Katoni Shiomi hasn't quite started his break yet, but he's about to. Crazy Dash wishes the intermodal yard in San Bernardino had some services, but you'd need to add some flat cars that pull trailers. Flat cars would be cool. Well, that's a very personal thing, Northern Illinois. You don't need to tell people you've got a small crack. Now, as a parting gift to all the people in the shops, alright, let's power it up. Now that we're out of the building. We're going to end up in the dark, aren't we? Okay. I kind of thought sunset in July in this area was about 8:30 at night, but clearly not. Our quiz is going to be a little bit different today. And I don't think it'll matter to anybody who's in this chat, but I've just taken delivery of a small pile of TSW3 keys to give away. We'll be organising some stuff to do that over the coming weeks. Should I start braking yet? Nah, a little while ago yet. I can see what might be our train down there. So how is everybody anyway? There's no point in you winning at Northern Illinois TV, otherwise known as Chicago Funky Lad, because you already have the game.
Bored, no work today.
No work. I spent so long on the railway yesterday, they actually told me off. It was firmly suggested that I leave the property for a 2-hour break between the things I was doing. No problems, Monkey Lad. Hello, Freddy DB. Welcome to the stream. I never believed that distance counter because it's from me to the other end. Crazy Dash says he's good. He attempted Cajon yesterday and miserably failed twice. Laughs. Got distracted taking pictures and ended up at 40 mile an hour. Second attempt, I didn't even attempt using the air brakes. Is that all of our train? It's only a baby. Is there even a loco at the back? No. We've got a little one. Did my conductor just change into someone else? I think so. That's okay. It's interesting that this train we connected to is all charged up, ready to go, but that's also okay. Yeah, if you don't pay attention going down over the pass, Cajon will bite you. That's for sure. Now, where are we going with this thing? Clearly not back into the shops. And then we get out on the main line and the game will take care of the rest. Crazy Dash did end up watching my tutorial. I think he's going to attempt the first strategy because it seems a bit more logical. They're both used. The sawtooth method I originally got from a US railroader. Sawtooth is used worldwide. The method of putting on a minimum set of the brakes, which is the other method that I put a tutorial up, is only used in the US. Well, perhaps other US-like countries like Canada. Only allowed to do 15 mile an hour? I don't think so, Mr. Game. I really don't. In fact, we'll just make you go away. Screens are a bit bright, aren't they? Now I need the HUD back, so I can make them dimmer. That one. Oh, it's a little bit better. More options. Dimmer, 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 dimmer. That's a bit better. Did you know, by the way, that if you need to set the brakes, you go into more options and operator controls, and then there's the auto brake cut-in and independent brake lead. And you can also do your distance counting in there if you want to. Let's just make that embarrassing HUD go away again. Northern Illinois, formerly known as Chicago Funky Lad, wanted me to stop for some reason. And he thinks cab cars have the loudest brakes on passenger trains. Well, I don't think so. I think maybe you're just closer to them. How are our sound levels today? They kind of look okay from my perspective. It is a super impressive sunset this evening. And we probably are going to be driving in the dark, which is not as well planned as I might have liked. The distance counter is useful if you've got that feet to the next signal thing turned on. You can watch it. By Scottish music, I assume Northern Illinois, formerly known as Chicago, formerly known as Funky Lad, you mean bagpipes. Bagpipes aren't music. Bagpipes is when you pick up a cat and shove it under your arm and squash it. My apologies to any Scottish people watching. Alright, let's crank it up. Down to 8. Well, at least you stayed the same this time. Hey, one of your lights is missing. And off they go into the sunset. And that's all for today's stream, folks. Kidding. At least this is a short train. I can watch it go past. Anybody else experience the long train phenomenon of you watch the whole train go past and you try and get back in the cab and you can't? When you do this, you don't end up in the cab. 36 miles an hour. It's cool, Crazy Dash. How is college life treating you, Crazy Dash? This is your first year, I think, isn't it? I think it only happens on PC and 9th gen consoles. Because it only happens on the hunter car trains. There's actually a name for what the conductor does. Mr. Northern Illinois TV, formerly known as Chicago, formerly known as Northern Illinois Train Services, and Plus, formerly known as Funky Lad, formerly known as I Like Thomas. I think I should shorten your name. It's too long. But that's actually called T-posing when they do that. Make sure you take advantage of the available services in your college, Crazy Dash, to help you manage the stress, because it actually is quite a difficult time of life. And you will find lots of probably free services. Don't actually know in the US whether they charge for them or not, but most colleges and universities have counselling and things to help you set up systems that will make it work for you. It's also a pretty exciting time of your life. Don't forget to go to the pub. Very important. And since you're an American college, you should probably think about, if you haven't already, researching and joining one of the longer-term supportive fraternities. Preferably not one of the wanky ones.
hard.
Yeah, it's about it, Michael. This is basically what this next stream is for the next hour. We could just call you Troublesome Trucks. Because you kind of like them. Actually, I know what you like. You like that little black diesel. It's already getting dark. I'm already revising what we're going to do, because there's no point running the second half of this service, because it'll just be in the dark. But we'll run this one. I've started it now. Got to finish it. It's good that you've got a nice library. No, I don't think devious diesel's good for you, Illinois TV. I think maybe cantankerous battery locomotive would be better for you. California does have relatively colourful sunsets over the desert. Indeed. Not so much in the Bay Area, because in the late afternoon in the Bay Area where I lived, the fog comes. Carl comes to visit. It's a good short name for you. We'll call you Zap. I like these trees. I reckon they're cool. Dinosaur trees. Hey, train, get back. Smack the windows or lick them? That's cool. Get some nice views there, Crazy Dash. And if you ever need to de-stress, you can always just walk down to the beach. Always a good thing to do. But this channel is my channel, Mr. Northern Illinois TV, so I can say anything I want. Speaking of anything I want...
Shall we play a game?
With a little bit of a difference today. So, the usual block things... you know what? That's the wrong video. God damn it. That worked well. Bear with me a moment. Bear with me just a moment while I fix that. Your college is on a mountain with a view of the ocean. Yeah, that is the correct terminology there, Michael. Well done. Thank you, Homer. Where is this video? Is it? What's the properties on this one? No, this is the old one. So where's the new one? I put it somewhere because I recorded it yesterday. What the hell did I put it? It's clearly not in here. If it's still here. Ah, here we go. I found it. Yes, overwrite it. Result. Failed. What? Damn it. That's why it didn't work yesterday. Yep, damn it. Okay, we'll fix this. Now I can do that. Let's put you in there. And Terracopy popped up on the right screen this time. That's good. There's sunset's getting even better, isn't it? How cool is this? You know, a photographer friend of mine once reminded me of something. Whenever you're photographing the sunset, always look behind you because it's often better. And if you never look behind you, you'll never know that. That's cool. And we have in the chat people, it's just Zap. Hello, Aiden's Train and the Unstoppable World. Will they ever make a CTA route for TSW3? I don't know. What is CTA? Good question from Crazy Dash. And did you notice, Aiden, how Zap tells you what to do? Well, it doesn't matter if you don't want CTA. Obviously, Zap, Mr. Zap, it's, you know, obviously that Aiden likes it. So what's wrong with it? I reckon Dovetail make anything that's sold, to be honest with you, because that's what they do. Now I have to do a very dangerous thing.
Shall we play a game?
Damn it. I'm actually not sure that I can make this work now. Alright, you're going to watch me change the quiz. That's all I can do, I think. Because I can't edit the scene without
Shall we
switching
play
to
a
it. You're just
game?
going to have to watch me do it. Isn't that fun? There you go. You just have to watch. Delete that one. Add files. I know you can't see with the add bit. Alright. Now we're going to be on quiz 2. Okay, here we go. Doing it properly this time. So, the usual thing, each time we open the stream, a block will be removed. Players get 5 seconds to try and answer the question. Bonus 10 points if you guess the railway. So it's on a particular railway. Bonus 10 points if you can guess the country of origin of the locomotive. It's a tricky one. You're looking at the wrong thing, Zap. It's last quiz. This is a new quiz. Bonus 100 points split across the controls if you can tell me what they actually are. So we'll come back to that in a little while. Meanwhile, let's go back to the game. And let me tidy up my windows so that I can see you all again. And it was 1018 into Urban, by the way, last time. Just say it. Here's a little house. What a place to live. You'd want to like trains, wouldn't you? Because they're coming past all day, every day. Ooh, another train. That was a bit of a surprise. It's a big one too, not like our baby one. Apparently we're doing 76 miles an hour. That might be a little bit fast. I have to decide whether I care about that. We shall see. Northern Illinois wants Pacific Surfliner route. NJT is in fact leader of the leaderboard currently. Northern Illinois TV, SAP, says, why do freight trains always have cars into each other? I don't know. Perhaps they're just frisky. Yeah, a whistle point. Now, let's find out if this crossing works. Well, it's bright, I'll give it that. Will it open? Does. How about that? Working crossings. Ooh, bell's on. You meant why do they bump into each other? It's called run in and run out. When you stretch the train out, you run out because all of the couplers are actually on great big springs. And when you're braking, they go bonk. That's what I like about you, Zap. You confidently think you know everything. Crazy Dash says he'd only want the house if engineers agree to sound the horn while passing. I reckon you'd get sick of that in the middle of the night. Hello, CCT Mitch. How are you? Now, CCT Mitch, today's quiz, I'm going to say you're not allowed to answer the questions. Because you know. The speed's going pretty well. I misjudged the time slightly and we're going to end up in the dark for this run, but that's okay. It's still kind of pretty. We're in the middle of California. We've only got a fairly short train by American standards. That's all of it. There it goes. Zap reckons Canadian e-bells are creepy when they ring, which makes them sound like a horror movie. Okay. Oh, I think you'll know the answers to the quiz, CCT Mitch. Let's just say I was in it yesterday for my second run. We should probably do one of the things of the quiz. Couldn't we? Why not?
Shall we play a game?
Oh, it's been running while we were away. Alright, that's fine. So you've got 3 boxes already. Now, obviously it's a steam engine, okay? So don't bother saying it's a steam engine. I want to know what engine. I want to know what railway it's on today, which you would know if you follow me at all. What railway it came from. Yes, bitch. Oh, that one. And for bonus points, any control that you can correctly name, and yes, I know I should have honked the horn there. Any control that you can correctly name, you'll get 10 points for it. I might even think about giving bonus points if you can tell me what it does, not just name it. Yes, I reckon you do, CCT Mitch. I learned how to use its injector yesterday. It's a bastard of a thing. I'd gotten used to the luxury of the NAs. Crazy Dave says he wouldn't get sick of the horns honking all night because he'd be watching railfan videos all the time. Well, you know what you could do? You could put up a camera on your house and you could join that channel. I assume there's a road here somewhere. Look at that, I even got the requisite 4 in. Oh, what are you doing, you silly OBS? Northern Illinois TV asks, can he share a fun fact about the GWR 5700 class? No. So you have anyway. More little houses. Can we get over to the houses? I don't think we can. There's an invisible wall here. I was hoping to jump over to a house and get a porch shot, but no, that's not going to happen. What about this one? Oh, we can get to this one. Oh, we're inside it. Outside the double wide. Enjoying some cheap bourbon. Watching trains go by. Oh, yes, it is definitely a steam engine, Crazy Dash. I have to say, by the railway that I work on standards, it's a fairly large steam engine. How many cars on the train? Not many. My guess would be probably something in the vicinity of 20. There you go, 21. That wasn't a bad guess, was it? No, I didn't say not to say a steam locomotive. I was just saying that it is a steam locomotive. That bit's obvious. It's getting very dark. Who's enjoying the better headlights in TSW3? Who also wishes that they still went further? I'd like a bit more out of them, really. Just a bit more. I love them, but just a bit more. Nah, 21 cars is only a baby for 3 ES44 C4s. They're not even noticing it. Have you noticed my tractive effort? I'm cruising along at 70 miles an hour, and I'm doing, what, 11,000... So 11 kilowatts? Or kilopounds, I think it is on these things. You can probably help with some clues, but let's let him see the rest of it. Aiden asks, it's not quite a great grammar question, how many they resolved the licensing issues for TSW3. Do you mean the BNSF licensing issues? They read what BNSF told them, I would suspect. Because BNSF would have said, we can't license our brand outside the United States, but we license you to use the brand in the United States. And what BNSF really meant by that, Dovetail misinterpreted originally, was that BNSF don't own the brand outside the United States. No one does. Ironically, now Dovetail do. But there you go. We could just stay here in town, really. Just watch the sunset. Oh yeah, meant to be on a train. That looked like a whistle board. Where's the sequencer thingy? Yeah, just blow it the hard way. Back to the quiz.
Shall we play a game?
Ah, it's all been revealed. You crazy OBS. There we go. OBS is being strange today. It did update this morning and I stupidly let it. Look, it's obviously a steam engine. I'm just going to show you all of it. And then we'll have to come back and just start guessing stuff. Now, interestingly, right behind my head, there's a blue hammer. And that's a significant clue, so I might just have to move. There you go. Oh, I think, yeah, you probably did see an injector, Brad MacArthur. You're going to have to tell me what they do. I think Brad's onto something here, CCT Mitch. Isn't that hammer there for the standard Puffing Billy repair method? The first thing you do is hit it with a hammer. If that doesn't work, you call a fitter, and the fitter hits it with a bigger hammer. Compressors operate the brakes. Do they? Do they? I don't think compressors operate the brakes at all. I think compressors probably supply air to the braking system, yes. That's kind of funny, CCT Mitch. But yes, Brad is right on the injector front. Gotta find a post-it note so we can write these things down, eh? So Brad gets the first 10 points. Bigger town. Where are we on the route now? Ah, we're not too far to go. It's a good thing we're not too far to go, because, you know, streaming in the dark, it's not that exciting. I would hope, NJTE, that you have 2 Cajones, not 1. Just saying. And I think, you know, I'm going to give CCT Mitch 10 points for knowing what the hammer's for, because I didn't. Has anybody guessed the railway yet? I don't think so. I'll give you a hint. What railway do I work on? I should point out that CCT Mitch really works there. Like, he's actually paid to work there, I think, if I remember rightly. I, on the other hand, am a volunteer. I'm what's called a sucker. And as we keep getting told, we're not there to play trains, but really we are. We just play them in a professional and serious manner. Yes, it is a steam railway, but which one? It does indeed. Oh, you're a volunteer as well, Mitch. I thought you were actually paid. Well, there you go. Welcome to the Suckers Club. Brad asks, what does a turret valve do? The turret valve provides the steam to all of the other ancillary or auxiliary, depending on which book you're reading, devices. Michael Newbury for the win. Alright. A professional, safe and fun manner. Indeed, CTT Mitch. What is the way we describe it? We operate for the safety of ourselves, for the safety of the machine, and for the safety of the operation. There you go. And if I wanted for an utterly hideous moment to channel Gavin, how do we operate the locomotive, CCT Mitch? That sounds like a good plan, Crazy Dash. Enjoy playing. Yes, Michael Newbury is indeed correct, Brett. Now, the next question, what is the country of origin for that locomotive? Ah, CCT Mitch is putting in his own questions. All right, I'll pay points for CCT Mitch's questions, if anybody can answer them. I know what they are, but, you know, it's kind of cheating, and I don't need the points. NJTE says the Queensway project has been approved. It's a bit like the High Line, but on the Rockaway Beach branch in Queens. Well, you know, that'll make Rockaway Beach useful for something, so that's good. Brad thinks the locomotive came from the USA. No. Yeah, well done, CCT Mitch. The question that I was referring to and what Mitch just answered, because we're doing steam fireman training together, we're going through all the theory at the moment, and we did what we thought was our last class yesterday, only to be told, hey, wait, there's going to be another one, because we haven't finished it yet. That's okay. We're talking about the water gauge glass, which if you saw my shorts yesterday, I posted a short of a quick test and a short of a independent test of a gauge glass. And you always have to make sure you have water in the gauge glass, because if you don't, the next thing that happens, you'll never know about it personally. Sneaky crossing. That looks like a passenger station. I had no idea there were passenger stations on Cajon. How about that? NJT asked, will you play JR East Train Sim someday? It looks interesting. I'll look into it. Is that the Japanese one? I think I've actually got the prologue version of it. It's actually made by Japanese railways. One particular railway made it. And I think it's made from one of their simulators. Crazy Dash knows no railways in Australia. There we go. And Northern Illinois TV would like to remind us that he's recently started watching the series Seconds from Disaster. And he's going to tell us all about the chain of critical events. CCT Beach says the common rule with gauge glasses is the waterway cock needs to be above the minimum water level above the crown sheet. Is that always true, though? I actually think that's not always true. I kind of think in some boilers, in fact, actually in all of them, the waterway cock is going to be below the crown sheet, not above it. The steam cock might be higher. The waterway cock's going to be below the crown sheet, generally, I would say. Just saying. That's about where the bottom of the glass is. Actually, you've got a little bit more after the glass is empty. So I suppose you're right, technically. This is a big town. How far are we from where we're going? Not far at all. And then we can play a train that's in daylight because it'll be more fun. Hello, Crazy Breadsticks. Crazy Breadsticks asks, did the new train sim world 3, did the CSX train horn change with and the other trains? I don't think the CSX... Yeah, I don't think the CSX train horns have changed. Not for a while, anyway. They did in... Some of them changed in TSW2. Ooh, yellow signal. I should probably start slowing down then. Better put the HUD back on. You can go away. We'll just bring it back down below the speed limit. In fact, why am I even bothering to do that? We're going up at 1.4% grade. Gravity will do it fine. Yeah, there's a mixture of how the gauge glasses are mounted. Some locomotives are just weird. And of course, some locomotives have more than 2 gauge glasses because they're just weird as well. Things like the Challenger. Do you want the bottom HUD on? I'm going to leave the signal HUD on. That looks like a cement plant over there. Large one. Welcome to Hesperia. No, Northern Illinois TV. The ACs definitely do not sound like Alcos. Alcos have a particular kind of sound to them. That's diesel Alcos, by the way. There were steam Alcos. You can always tell when there's an Alco coming, because you're completely surrounded by black smoke and you can't see anything. Crazy Dash is going to attempt the Cajon again. Well, we are going to run one down the Cajon Pass after we finish this one, but I'll pick a daylight one. Because the one I was going to run is obviously going to be in the dark and be a bit boring. So, let's flip back to our little quiz screen and...
Shall we play a game?
It's just playing the video again. Alright, let's pause it there. Anybody know what the far left control is? And if you can't read it, it says blower. What does the blower do? Anybody know? Yeah, I think the game's pretty cool, but, you know, I'm a bit of a railway nut. Ooh, what happened there? Notch 3, and I got a massive wheel slip from over there. Oh well. Whatever. Northern Illinois TV guesses it blows steam out of the water pipes. Blows steam? It definitely blows steam. And you might have water in that pipe sometimes because it condensed, but no, that's not what it does. So you're going to have to learn this stuff because they're implementing a proper firing mode for TSW3. You're going to need to learn what this stuff does, because if you don't, it isn't going to work very well for you. NJTE says the moon will eventually leave our orbit, but we'll be dead by then. I don't know that it will leave our orbit. Probably not until the Earth's destroyed by our sun exploding. I don't think it can leave our orbit. We kind of captured it. You weren't really close, Northern Illinois TV. You got the blows steam right, but why does it do it? Zap's getting angry. Calm down, Zap. 2.7 miles to go to the end of this dark scenario that I chose poorly. Well, that was nice because it let us use the loco shops, which is kind of cool. It's different in a service. It's nice to have something where it's not just coupled up to the train. Well, that's an interesting fact, NJT. Maybe I'll just let you know what the blower does then. The blower creates a draft by pushing steam up through the chimney, or funnel, or stack, depending on where you come from in the planet. Or as we described yesterday, we decided it was also called that top bit and the exhaust pipe, I believe. Because we're silly. 2.5 miles to go. That's it, Brad. For when there's not enough draft through the firebox from that induced by exhaust steam. And the reason that you want the blower is to increase the draft so you've got a nice hot burning fire which makes steam, which is one of its uses. And the other reason you have it is to create a draft so that when you open the firebox door, the fire doesn't come out to say, make happy friends with you and give you a hug. Because, I don't know about you, but I've got a beard. I don't want a hug by a fire. It would not go well. You should join Puffing Billy, Brad. Why not? Just make sure you come and find one of the people that's been there for a while.
Shall we play a game?
Or induction. They're a lot better at it these days, let's just say that. I'll stop that, you silly video. I want to go back there. Right. And stop. No, that's not what I wanted to do either. Ah, sigh. Replay. Go there. Right. Pause. So we've had the injector. The next one over there is the grate. Now this control I've never actually used, but I know what it does. Oh look, we're streaming nothing right now. It's just black. Who wants to try and guess what the grate one does? NJT says, can you please make a super complicated tutorial for when they implement realistic firing, because he wants to be realistic. You know, it would actually be a super complicated tutorial, to be honest. If they do it completely realistically, which I really doubt they will. Because, to be honest with you, if they made it completely realistic, nobody that hasn't had months of on-the-job training and all the theory classes could ever actually drive the bloody thing. Because it's not easy. is quite difficult. And if they implemented it truly realistically... There you go, Brad MacArthur. It does shake the grate to clear it of ash and other things. It's useful for breaking up clinker too. Something we've experienced a little bit too much of lately. From a lovely coal delivery that was half coal, half rocks. I think they gave away about 2 or 3 tons of coal yesterday. It's gone off to another little railway. I'm sure they'll have a very exciting party sorting through all the rocks. And they can make a nice path out of the rocks. NJT says he can't answer this since he only knows steam classes. He mostly grew up with electrics. Well, that's true. I mostly grew up with electrics too, but there were actually some steam trains when I was a kid. Not many. You see the occasional one. 1.4 miles to go. I should probably start paying a little bit of attention again. Oop. Gratuitous bridge shot. Not that there's much point in a gratuitous bridge shot in the dark, but there you go. .3 miles to go. Brad says he's a little bit older than NJT. Probably. Let's go back to our controls.
Shall we play a game?
That it's still just moved on again. This new version of OBS really doesn't play the game properly, so I'm going to have to figure something else out for next time. What else have we got there? Turbo. And drifting. Oh. Is this a Japanese race car? Who can tell me what the turbo does? Don't try and guess from cars. Ooh, SD40s. Just sitting there out in the middle of nowhere. What a great guess, Northern Illinois TV. Ha ha ha. Who can tell me what the turbo on a steam locomotive does? And I have to say that even the American people that are watching this stream will know this, so will the English. There's another SD40 just sitting there. That's just weird. Why are they just sitting there behind each other? This route doesn't have automatic train control. They shouldn't be in the same block. There, naughty. Clearly. Brad gets another 10 points. You are indeed correct. It's called a... That particular one is a Stone's turbo generator. And yes, they do make DC power. Steam turbines do exist, but not mobile ones. You could not make a turbine that was mobile. Not run by steam. Jet planes have mobile turbines. But no, a steam one would... they need to have zero vibration or they pull themselves to pieces. It's kind of important. I guess that's a train coming. Hello, train. I shall pop down and greet you. Ah. It's a big one. Should I do that thing that really annoys Zap and just stop on my independent brake? The cab signalling does not work on the ES44C4, no. Mind you, I've never actually tried it on Horseshoe Curve to see if it does. Because some of the locos where I've always thought it was inactive, it's... Excuse me, I got hiccups. It's actually not. I'm going to have to put some power in, or we're not going to get to the end of this. Perhaps not that much power. Yeah, there is actually a locomotive that was built on a turbine system, but it wasn't a steam turbine. They were very noisy. didn't last very long. I think Union Pacific had them. Yeah. They had a couple of them, I think. NJT just brought the A321 and the B77 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. People think I'm crazy for playing train games. I think people who play Flight Simulator are a little bit crazy too. But there you go. And Crazy Dash is about to head down the pass. We'll see how it goes. And for some reason, Google thinks on 14k tons is something that should be hidden, but I have revealed it. I don't know why it would think that needs to be something hidden, but whatever. That's okay. There we go. And just to annoy Zap, I'll put the independent brake on because I know it gives him the shits. Objective complete. Alright, let's find a downhill one that's in the daytime. Yeah, 22 hours. Yeah, I agree, NJTE. Going on autopilot. Choose a route. Cajon Pass. Timetable. 44. And we want... No, we want something during the day, and we want Victorville to Barstow. No, it's the wrong way. No, wrong way. Wrong way. Yes. Unit cement train. We're going to go down the hill with a cement train. Crazy Dash has 4 engines leading, 3 on the end. Very good. Yeah, I think flying in planes for 22 hours is bad enough as it is without, pretending you're flying it. The only thing it would be really cool to do it, next time I fly to America, I'd love to buy a Steam Deck, put MSFS on it, and fly the same plane on the same route, because that would be just funny. I think it would totally freak people out. I also think you'd probably get a visit from the US Marshals. Alright, so are we all set up? We are all set up. What have we got on the outside here? We have got... Oh, it's a little bit longer. Still not very big. What have we actually got? We've got 95 cars. When I say it's not very big, okay, it's very heavy. It's not very long, but it's very heavy. 14,000 tons. And it's 1.1 miles long. Alright, first things first. It probably has banking locomotives, so let's put banking com on. Put the reverser in. Forwards, come on, off we go. Let's put our generator on. And our gauge lights. And let's release all our brakes. Can start powering. 3 will do fine. Let's get our lights on. G'day, how you going? Time to go to San Bernardino. You alright to go? Hope you are, because we're leaving. Yeah, I've seen people doing that. There's a streamer I watch occasionally who does that. Who streams himself playing the game on a train, driving the same service. He's an English guy. We're just patiently waiting for these things to generate enough power to actually make this thing move. Why is the rear only at 67 pounds? Wasn't it higher than that before? Brakes are off, aren't they? Oh, mid-application. Good on you. Alright. Soon we'll move. NJT says I should fly from Melbourne to JFK when that service starts. I have, but as a 2-part service. Quite a few times. There's a thing called Qantas Flight 21, which is a... There's 2 of them. One leaves Sydney and one leaves Melbourne. They both call 21, bizarrely enough. I don't know how that works. They both land in Los Angeles about 2 minutes apart. and the people for the New York services are picked up from both planes and taken through all of the appropriate US-isms, and then you get onto another plane that takes you to New York. And that's a 14.5-hour flight and then a 5-hour flight. And the direct one, I believe, is going to be about 20 hours. Crazy Dash is on his way down the pass. He's taking it nice and slow. Well, I haven't actually tried the alternative method on a train this heavy, so it's going to be interesting. We'll see how well it works. We'll soon know. No one's picked up the country of origin for that locomotive yet. The hammer had the clue. That little blue hammer. It had writing on it. Yes, it is a grueling flight, Brad, definitely. I think the only thing that, apart from seeing my friends, which is the only reason I go to New York, but the only thing I like about that flight is JFK at least is pretty efficient. And I also like that you can pile out into a taxi out the front and pay $50 US and go anywhere in Manhattan. Because when you've gotten off that plane, the last thing you want to do is try and sort out your own transport. Just jump in a taxi and pay the $50. Let's get some windows open. It's stuffy in here. You want your window open? Let me come and open your window for you. So how you doing today? Looking forward to this run? Off down to San Bernardino? No? Don't want to talk to me? They never talk to me. They just sit there. I have to say the people's faces got a lot better. Transcend World 3. They look quite cool now. Hey, look. We can sit over here. Oh no, there's no driver. Crazy Dash is now on full dynamics. Oh, come on, Dovetail. You can turn on the other lights. You can't even turn on the toilet light. Should we go to the King of the World thing? You can stand out the front and be King of the World. Hey, wow. That means you can get off. Probably don't want to do that. Uh-oh. Locked myself out. Alright, I'll behave. I'll get in the chair. Oh, we're not going fast enough for the horn sequencer to work. I was going to use the horn sequencer for this crossing that's coming up, but I couldn't because we're not going fast enough. So you're using the sawtooth method, Crazy Dash. There's another passenger platform. What passenger train runs along here? Is it Amtrak or is there something else? I know Amtrak does use the route. Full Fang heading up the hill. Just remember, Crazy Dash, when you release the brakes when you're using Sawtooth, make sure you give the train enough time to recharge before you apply them again. Ah, all the answers for Amtrak. Excellent. Crazy Dash is running away. So just think, Crazy Dash, if you have to use the emergency brake to stop, you're a bit stuffed. Because what you're going to have to do is you and your conductor are going to have to get out and apply every single handbrake on your train, then come back, release your emergency brake application, charge the entire train. Too little. Ooh. It's not going well, Crazy Dash. I think you braked a bit late there. We'll be going fast enough for the sequencer now. See, the horn's got an autopilot. And the only way to stop it is press the horn button. Die, Beelzebub. Crazy Dash is slowly losing speed. It was actually useful yesterday in our Steam class, because I discovered that I have, for a very long time, had the concept of equalizing actually incorrect. Because I always thought it was equalizing the brake cylinder and the train brake pipe, but it's not quite. Not quite right. That's what it looks like when you're looking at the gauges. Crazy Dash thinks he's fried his brakes. Now we're starting to get into the steep bit. So just gradually power it up. Reality, you probably would have gone a bit slower than that. That's okay. I am going to leave the HUD on for this run, so that we can see how I use the brakes sitting down the hill. Because I'm going to use the minimum set method, which is what Professor Matt was attempting to teach DTG Alex. The equalizing is equalizing the brake pipe, the auxiliary reservoir on the car, and the brake cylinder. On an hour railway, it happens at 50 pounds. Once you reach the equalizing, there are no more brakes. You can't have more after that. Yep, Crazy Dash has managed to get himself back under control, down to 23 mile an hour. We've got a little while before we even get to the summit, so we'll be a little while. And then it probably won't be a super quick run down the summit, because if it's a super quick run down the summit, yeah, probably doing it wrong. Yes, and I learnt the correct definition of equalising in the best possible way, by giving a smart-ass answer to a question and then being told, well, no, actually you're wrong. No. Life's like that. You better put out a pan then, NJT. Let everybody else know that you're going to crash. your 777 just on autopilot by any chance, and you're not actually controlling it at all? It's just doing it itself. I find when you're using sawtooth method, 15 to about 23 mile an hour is about the limits. If you keep the brakes on below 15, you'll stop the train. And if you don't apply the brake, as you reach 23 mile an hour, it'll overrun. It's interesting, NJT. You should fly the plane over this area. We'll see if we can see you. How cool would that be if the games represented each other in the world? Hey, here's a thought for you. Actually, still no one's answered two questions about the train. One of them is, what's the drifting valve? And the other one is, what's its country of origin? Because it's not from Australia. It's from another colonial nation. Enjoy your bike ride, Brad. Have fun out there. It is a nice sunny day today. We're losing speed, even in Notch 8. This is a big train. No, it's not New Zealand. There's only about 18 colonial countries, so, you know, figure it out. Keep guessing. There's quite a lot of them. Now, this amuses me, alright? Because this is a cement plant, and this is racks of bags of cement outside. They'd basically just turn into hard pillows. Soak up water, and they would set. Crazy Dash says the minimum application is not enough to slow the train down even at slow speeds. You need to be at least 40% brakes. I got down on a minimum when I made that tutorial. I didn't have to give it more brakes anywhere. We'll see how this goes, because this train's much heavier than the one I took down for the tutorial, so we'll see. The one I took down for the tutorial is 5,000 tonnes, I think. This one's 14,000. NJT has killed his engines and is trying to perform an emergency landing. Good luck with that. I have a faint suspicion without engines, a 777 probably glides in much the same way a brick does. Badly. Yeah, this one's 14,000, so we'll see how I go. It'll be interesting. I did have a thought for a way multiplayer could be made to work in this in a relatively easy way. What I was kind of thinking, so the big challenge around multiplayer is making the dispatchers sync up. That was something that Matt mentioned ages and ages and ages ago on a stream. But I was thinking, why do we need the dispatcher at all? Because if we had a multiplayer server version of the game that had a cut-down dispatcher and all it did was signalling. So as trains move around the world, it runs the signalling systems based on where the trains are, so relatively realistic. It doesn't attempt to control any trains and there's no AI traffic at all. All the traffic would be provided by players, which is kind of how Run 8 works. That does mean that players need to be in charge of the paths, because they're going to have to set their own. Also kind of the way Run 8 works, just saying. In fact, there's a dedicated role called Dispatcher which can do that, which is a human. But the game can actually do it by itself too, with the players controlling it. which is the way I think I'd rather have it go. And then the players just interact with each other by obeying or not obeying the signals. That funny little step van. It's going faster than we are. It's a nice rock garden back there. He's not going faster anymore. He had to stop for a stop sign. I didn't know they did that. Uganda. Right continent, NJTE. Oh dear, you got the horn bug, Crazy Dash. Crashed your plane yet, NJTE? Ah, yes. Good guess. NJTE got the country of origin, South Africa. We have still got one control to go. Now we might talk about all the gauges. Why not? We've got a while before we get to the summit. Yeah, I think it is quite random, Crazy Dash. I actually think what happens, and this is purely supposition, this is not any inside knowledge in any way, but what I think happens, there's an internal sound mixer in the locomotive, and the sound mixer has got 16 channels. And I have detected on the odd occasion that it copies... Is that train on my track? I guess we're going to find out in a moment. I hope it's a deciding. Anyway. I think what I've detected occasionally is it'll copy one channel to another one. And then that continues to play, but it fades in and out. And I've heard it with engine noises. And I've heard it with truck sounds. And I think the horn manifestation is just another one of those. So I don't think it's actually a horn bug at all. I think it's a sound mixer bug. And that train is on a siding. Yay. Now we're going for... I've got a while to go to the summit yet. Whoop, house. A couple of SD40s sitting behind the catch points. Railway people often call catch points mousetraps because if you get it wrong they kill you. The locomotive is a NGG 16 series of locomotive. NJT has lost all hydraulic power. Well, that's what happens when you shut your engines down. And Crazy Dash now has control of his train. He's done the 2% grade. Yeah, you've come down off the hard bit then. Made your way down far enough. Well done. I didn't turn on my head tracking today, did I? Oh well. Life. Have you noticed I've managed to get rid of the reflection off my glasses? Well, most of it. I was looking into it and there's lots of suggestions on the internet for how to do it with fancy lighting. But you know, I'm a photographer and I happen to have quite a few of these circular polarizing filters. Beautiful things. They reduce or remove reflections. You normally use it when you're shooting on water. And I usually use it when I'm shooting models in water. Because you want to see them below the water, not just on top. Crazy Dash says you need to do at least 50% braking when going down if you want to stand a chance of slowing down. Even with bailing off the Independence, you should go down pretty slow. Yeah, I'm planning to make a pretty slow start of it. I'm thinking I might head down probably around the 15 mile an hour mark, and we'll see. That's clearly a hot dog factory. It's a lot of cement wagons. He sunk into the road. I have noticed one weird thing about this route, and I must look it up. The train's left rail on this route. NJT has crashed. Yeah, if you're going to make a brake test, Crazy Dash, I would suggest coming to a stand. So well done on the points today, folks. So Brad got a total of 30, NJT 10, Michael 10, CCT Beach 10. Crazy Dash said the reason the way the trains run on the left is so they can access main 3 without crossing over all tracks. So they really do run on the left on this route. I was curious about that, whether they really did or not. I got a new thermos cup. Keeps my tea hot for hours. Too hot, somewhat. No, it's not a plug. I did buy it. Bit of football. Bit of baseball. Wouldn't it be cool if there were teams playing on here? That would make the game, I think. All by rail. Maybe they like the 3% grade, Crazy Dash. There are services on main 1. I'm not sure about 2. Not so long to go to the summit now. Getting there. That sounds fun, Crazy Dash. I think I have actually done a service where I had another one pacing me coming up the hill. I don't think I've had that going down the hill. So who's looking forward to what should be next week's update that was supposed to be last week's update but's been held off? Because they're bringing back Save Game. Crazy Dash is letting his train run up to 25 before applying. If you're on the 2%, you should be fine doing that.
Yeah, save game will be with a toggle switch.
One thing I'm looking forward to in the new update is being able to set mouse sensitivity, which is something I do via an ini file. And don't forget, Brandon Phelps, drink cactus juice. And those who don't know what that in-joke is, oh well. What kind of intersection's that? No one's obeying the traffic lights. Crash.
What traffic lights? I don't see any.
Yep. Crazy Dash is always excited for updates.
Intersection's missing.
Interestingly enough, I actually haven't got the new update, even though I'm in the beta, because I haven't been running the beta. I've been running the public one, because I've been recording more tutorials and things. Here's a dragging equipment detector. Do you know what these do? Basically anything that hits one of those sets off a radio in there that'll tell you you've got dragging equipment. Crazy Dash almost lost control.
The detector.
You were super quiet then, Michael. I didn't quite hear what you said. The internet may hear you louder than I do because I've got the game turned down a bit in my headphones, but that turns you down too as well, unfortunately. Random crossing.
I was saying it detects anything dragging a car.
Yes, that's it exactly. So those houses wouldn't be such bad places to live because they get the nice view. They can see the trains, but you wouldn't hear them as much because you're higher than the trains are. Crazy Dash says it's foggy and dark and spooky. And this one is a hotbox detector. Somewhere there it is. Yeah, we're almost up at the summit now. So I need BNSF. California, San Bernardino, we're almost at the summit, but I have to turn something on. excuse me, messing around with my sounds while we're actually doing stuff. But there we go, because I want to play this.
BNSF detector milepost 144.45. Main 1, no defect. Repeat, no defect. Out.
So that's what a real defect detector sounds like. Let's see if I can find one with a defect for you. Alright. Here's one.
BNSF detector milepost 289.2. Main 2. Hot journal right side axle 147. Total axle 646. BNSF detector milepost 289.2. Main 2. Hot journal right side axle 147. Total axle 646. Out.
We're almost at the summit. Hey, look at that. Oh, that's funny. There's a bush on top of the telegraph pole. Bad ambassador. And here's a different kind of defect.
BNSF detector milepost 124.2. You have a defect. BNSF detector milepost 124.2. First, high load near axle 261. Second, high load near axle 262. Third, high load near axle 263. Fourth, high load near axle 264. High load near axle 265. Total axle 488. BNSF detector milepost 124.2. First, high load near axle 261. Second, high load near axle 2.
Oh, it's just playing it again. That's boring. So the website I'm using, if you're wondering, defectdetector.net, they have defect detectors from lots of railroads all over the place. Let me chuck that in the chat. A useful site if you just... I keep contemplating putting it on buttons. We're almost at the summit, so let's just start paying a little bit more attention here soon. The other one that might be useful is pop this on. So we can go Western Zones, BNSF, BNSF Gateway, no, BNSF Central Valley. That might be the nearest one we can get actually. It's not the right one, but that might be the nearest we can have. And I will listen with none of those, but I'll use this one. Oops. Go away. Go on. Piss off. Gah. Let me start it on the other monitor so you can't see that. Watch it do it on this monitor again. Ah, it's going to do it here again. Bastard. Stop it. Get off. Right. My apologies, folks. But now you're hearing real railroad chatter from BNSF. We are very, very fast approaching the summit, doing 25 mile an hour. I'm happy with that. Sounds like there's a bit of blame game going on in the BNSF at the moment. Don't be putting that on us now. Crazy Dash says the fog has gotten really bad now. Can't see anything in front of him. That's good though. You won't see any hazards. It'll be fine. All good. They're unusually chatty on the BNSF today. Now, coming up on our left is my marker that lets me know that I'm getting close to the summit and that I need to start behaving myself. You'll see a large radio tower. Crazy Dash just hit a deer. Uh-oh. Ready to go down the hill, mate? Could be a quick one. So this big radio tower coming here is the one that I keep an eye out for when I'm kind of playing but kind of not. And when I see that, I come back and play. Not that I know why there's a whistle board back there, but there is. Because there's no crossing. That sounds like the aftermath of a really hot curry, NJTE. A burning memory. Oh, look at that. It's starting to rain. That's going to make the run down the hill more interesting. Thanks, game.
BNSF detector, milepost 85.9. No defects. Repeat, no defects. Total axle 466 out.
Don't mind if I just chuck in random defect detectors every now and again, do they? Yes, CCTMH, there is nice changes in the game lighting. Works quite well too. So at this point, even though we're going uphill, we can do a brake test. So we can see it's braking on the rear, so I'll release that and let it charge up again. And the rear has gone back to 90 pounds, so we know that's okay. In reality, doing that would probably set up some hideous gradient in your train, so you really wouldn't want to do that.
BNSF detector, milepost 1139.4. No defects. Repeat, no defects.
Where did I set that off?
2 8 out.
Oh, that might be a real one that came through from the radio. Okay. Yes, it does, Crazy Dash. And I think if they replicate the realistic braking system from Cajon onto the other steep routes, they'll be more challenging too. So, very close to the summit now. There's the summit signals up there. So I'm going to go down to notch 1 or 0. Thanks, rail driver. Let's use keyboard. 1 will help keep the train stretched out, but it means I'll start slowing down. Northern Illinois is going to play Peninsula Corridor while watching the stream. Fair enough. And Crazy Dash, he hopes the other freight routes get updates. Trains feel way too heavy on Sandpatch. Yeah, given they're about half the weight of these ones, they seem to behave as though they're twice the weight. And here's another random whistle board that I don't understand why it's here. So I don't bother. Hello, Cryptic Crusader. Welcome to the stream. And thank you. Crazy Dash has got so much fog he actually can't see his headlight glare anymore. Ah. Perhaps you've had a visit from San Francisco's Carl. Carl is a proper fog. I'm just letting my train slow down. I'm going to come off notch 1 now because I want to go into setup on my dynamics. So we'll wait our 10 seconds. Because while the train is still going uphill, it's not going to be long before it starts going downhill. And you kind of need to be ready. Crazy Dash can't even see the back of his loco anymore. I do like that when that happens. That's kind of cool. So I've gone into setup on the dynamic brakes. So that won't really do anything right now, but just puts us in good stead. Is your screen still on, Crazy Sash? Maybe that's why you can't see the track. The smoky scenarios like that, the Cinder and Flames or whatever it's called, that one's quite cool. The locos are now over and have started going down, but the rear of the train's still going up the hill. So I'm still not going to do anything for a little while. Now, if this was a proper DPU setup, so the way, it's not really DPU in this game, because what happens is these controls, these three, get copied to the rear locomotives on the train, and that's what BankingCom does. If you had real DPU, you'd actually set up a fence and you'd have the locos at the back pushing while the locos at the front were trying to slow down. Alright, let's start getting the dynamics going. I'm not ready to make my minimum application yet. So I'm just starting to use the dynamics to slow the train down a bit. And help us hold on this grade. Because don't forget, back up here, and I don't want to go too far because I won't be able to get back in my cab. But back up here around the corner where the summit is, the whole train's not even there yet. It's close now. So we're probably, it doesn't look like there's anything popping in down the back there, so we're probably actually all here now. And we're about to go on the roller coaster. You can see how far down it's about to go. But I'm still not going to brake yet because the dynamics are holding us quite happily at the moment. That will change fairly quickly. So the locos are now on the steeper gradient of 2.4. It's got worse to come. Still holding for now. We're starting to creep up though. If you notice on the HUD, you can see on the white lines of the speedo it's starting to go up. You can also see the little accelerometer bubble is popping up occasionally. But I'm still not quite ready to put my minimum set on the brakes yet. Now I am. Alright, so let's go for a minimum application on the brake. And let's bail off. And that'll bring our dynamics back. Because you can't have both independent, or both the brakes applied in your locomotive and have the dynamic brakes running. So it's important to bail off. We now have a minimum set on the train, so we have dropped 7 pounds along the brake pipe, and that's propagated all the way through to the rear, which is quite quick. And that means the brake cylinders are applied on the train. They'll all have 14 pounds in them, which isn't a lot. Is it 14 pounds? No, it's more. Be about 18. It's 2.5 times. So it's more actually, isn't it? So now we're in Sucket and C territory. We're on the 3% down bubble. Our accelerometer is still below the line on the HUD. That's the, see there's two arrows going up and down. I can't point at it because I'm not sharing my cursor. But I suppose I could do that. I could do that. Properties, capture cursor. Alright, so you see my cursor now? Yep, okay. So these lines here, this is one of the things that you can watch. After you know the route, you won't need to do this. But you see this thing staying pretty much around the middle. So we're kind of holding our speed, but down here you can actually see that the white lines are creeping a little bit. So we are actually speeding up. So it's time for some more dynamics. And the way I suggest you approach it, and we'll see how well this works, because this is actually the first time I've taken a train this heavy in this method, is give it a little bit and see what happens. So that's not holding it. So let's give it a little bit more dynamics and see if we can hold. Well, that held for a moment, and then it's creeping again. Hello, British Ace. Good morning. How are you? I just got home from work. British Ace, if you didn't know, is working on a railway now, which is pretty cool. And we're still not holding. So British Ace, I'm attempting Professor Matt's method of the minimum brake set and just using the dynamics. And I have to say my speed is creeping up at this point, and we've only just started. So I may have to put a bit more air brake into it than just using the minimum, I think. Just see how it settles now that I'm in notch 8. But this feels like it's starting to run away, so I'm going to give it some more air. So just looking here, let's drop, not that much. Let's drop a bit more out of it. Bail off again. So that's a fairly, hey, bail off. That's a fairly strong air brake application. Bang, as the train crashes into the back of us then. Yeah, someone on the real BNSF's just gone into emergency. Interesting. Alright, I think we're holding now. Kind of cool listening to someone on the real BNSF has gone into emergency. Ooh, that was interesting. Wonder what that was. Yeah, it sounds like NJT, they have hit someone. That's sad. Now I've taken 15 pounds out of the brake pipe, so we've gone down from 90 to 75. Which means we've got, what, about 40 pounds in the brake cylinders from memory? Something like that. Maybe it's 30. No, it's 30 pounds in the brake cylinders, 2 times. This is holding okay. We're actually slowing down. I'm just going to let it come back down to 20 mile an hour and then I'll reduce the dynamics a little bit. NJT, it depends on the crew. If you're realistic about life and you understand that you have no chance in stopping. So if I had to stop this thing right now, in real life, it would take a couple of miles for it to stop. So if I saw someone pop out right in front of me now, it's like, I know there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. So you do the right thing, go into emergency. Actually, on this hill, going into emergency might not even be the right thing to do. You might just do a service application. Because if you went into emergency, getting started again is going to be painful. That is possible. Crazy Dash. The braking percentage, I actually don't like the way they do that in the game because it's completely bogus. And the way this works, yeah, they call it the auto brake, it's not. The only thing automatic about these is if the train separates, the brakes automatically apply. It's not an automatic braking system. Alright, we've come well down in speed. So I'm going to bring the dynamics down one notch at a time until I see that not happening anymore. Because we're coming into the slightly lesser gradient. It will get steeper again, so I've got to be careful. Alright, that's still slowing down, so let's halve that. See how we go there. Alright, so that's still slowing down very, very, very slowly. So we come back down to a steep bit of track shortly. But I think I could probably bring this back to 3 on the dynamics and get away with it now. So let's give that a crack. I'm a bit reluctant to release that air brake setting, and I hope I don't have to. Yeah, I'm not going to have to, because coming down to 3, we're accelerating again.
Got the locals in is that way over?
Okay, that's good. I got people coming up my train. That door's locked.
Copy. Go.
Biohazard will be code for the guy that turns up with a hose to wash the bits off the train. Hello, Poorhouse. Welcome to the stream. We're just trying to get down Cajon Pass with the Professor Matt method. We're doing okay so far. It's slow. I take it that's not very loud. There you go. I've turned them up a bit. Next time they talk, hopefully we'll hear it louder. They're basically talking about getting emergency services now.
But at least you're holding your own.
Yeah, it's holding, sort of. It's creeping up now. I might give it a little bit more dynamic again. And we're coming into the heavier gradient again too. We're coming into the 3.4. And Poorhouse played Cajon again for the first time the other day. That's good. How did you find it? Yeah, we are creeping up rather a lot. Five's not enough. Let's try 6. Six is not enough either. Still speeding up. Only just, but we are. Let's go for 7. Seven's holding, I think. I'm just watching the white line on the HUD, so I'm watching... Oops, let me get my cursor back. I'm watching here. You can see how it's starting to pull back. Actually, I hope the resolution on the stream's good enough. It's starting to pull back on the speed here. So yeah, 7's holding us. And we're coming down into the lesser gradient anyway, so we'll be able to reduce a bit more. Now we're off the worst of the gradient here. So I can do things like gratuitous bridge shot.
5-6, over.
Discard that zone, just nothing line up.
Copy.
That yellow's probably for your stop in the yard, Crazy Dash. The yellow's all the way into San Bernardino yard. Still slowing down. Starting to hold our own. See, a lot of the train will be in that 2% section now. So I'll have to keep an eye on this, because as it gets into the 3%, we'll creep up more. Yeah, so we're holding pretty well. Yeah, your brakes should release relatively quickly. They won't charge up fully, but they'll release. Still slowing down a bit, so we might come back down to another notch off the dynamics. Go down to 3. Oh, that's had an immediate effect. We're starting to speed up, which is fine. We'll just let it creep up now. She can't make its mind up. Sped up, slowed down, sped up, slowed down, speeding up again now. I jokingly say we're down from the worst bit, but I've had runaways on this bit plenty of times. Generally not, Poor House, no. Generally not. When I'm playing on my own, that's a different story, but I tend not to do things like that on stream. Besides, it's kind of morning here. I'm content to let this creep back up, because now we're down onto this part of the pass. We can quite happily do about 20 odd mile an hour, so we'll just let that gradually creep back up. I probably don't even need to hold that fairly heavy air brake I've got going on, but I'm not going to release it. It is morning in Australia. It's 10:33 a.m. in Melbourne. We're back up to 20, so let's just start giving it some more dynamics and see what happens. There's another train going up the other track over there. Just see it through the gap. And oily. I wonder what that is. Ah, substation. Fair enough. See, I got distracted for a moment there, and look what's happened. Speeding up. There's our oil train going up the hill. So you get distracted for a moment, and it adds up quick. Ooh, wheel slip. Yeah, probably Crazy Dash. Yes, Michael, like Matt did. I seem to have gotten it back. For now. And I am starting to slow down just a little bit, which is okay. Because it is easy to relax and go, well, we're down from the steep bit now. It's all good. Don't need to wipers anymore, do I? I like this part of this route, Poorhouse. I'm not a fan of the long notch 8 runs, really. I love floating cars though. They're always cool. Don't know why I turned the HUD off then. It wasn't intentional. Let's just come back to 6. Let's see how that goes. Oh, that could happen, Crazy Dash, in reality. You go through something like a temperature inversion. There'll be a warm patch of air, a warm moist patch that's making fog, and then you come out of it and you're in cold air or you're in hot air and it just disappears. On a 2% gradient, I would almost think the dynamics themselves could hold this train without having the air brakes applied. I'm just not sure if I'm game to find that out. It may be you encountered a not particularly smooth weather transition there. NJTE. Oh, sorry, Crazy Dash. You know, I almost want to kind of find this out, because the back of my train should be on this 2% gradient now. You know what? We're going to do it. We're going to try. Release the Kraken. So I've gone full on the dynamics. And I've released the air brakes. Train's bouncing around a little bit. It didn't like this much. Hello, David Park. Well, there's the answer to my question. Can the dynamics alone hold this train on a 2% gradient? And the answer is no. The answer is maybe. Because we were creeping up there, but we're slowing again. But I don't want to come down here at 9.3 miles an hour either. It'll take forever. So I'm quite happy to let it creep up for a while. That'll also give my train a chance to charge up, because you notice the brake pipe's still at 89. We haven't charged up that last pound yet. So that'll be charging auxiliary reservoirs along the train. I think that's something like half a second for every pound. Something like that. And that's for each car. So it'll be a while before that can charge back up again. So we'll just let the speed creep up. I have to say the train itself is not liking being only on dynamics very much. It's bouncing around quite a bit. Quite happy to let it speed back up to about 20 odd mile an hour. So you can hear a lot of noise in the train. So the physics engine's still got the train sort of bobbling back and forth on the springs. But because I want to speed up, let's just bring the dynamics off a little. Where's that crossing? There's a little hot dog man. Should we stop here and get hot dogs? Going for a minimum brake application because we are speeding up and I need to bail off because I'm losing my dynamics. Nope. Remember to bail off. It probably varies with the hot dog guys how much they make in a day, depending on where they are, I guess. So that minimum application's not holding. But let's just let it settle a bit. But I think I'm going to have to do more. In fact, I can guarantee you I'm going to have to do more, because I'm running away at the moment. Air brakes to stop you. Coming back under control. Going a little quick. I am starting to slow down again though. I don't mind running at this speed on the 2%. But I do want to get... There we go, we're getting the control back. I really wish the door distance for trains was higher. I don't like the way that the carriages pop in at the back. There we go. We're holding it. Pretty happy at this point. Let's just bring the dynamics back to 7 and just see what happens. Let's see how that goes. that's starting to creep up again. So we're going to be bouncing back and forth between 7 and 8. That's alright. I don't know if I've perfected it, poor house, but I think I get what's going on. Now we're getting into a steeper section and we're speeding up again. The dynamics aren't holding it again. Oops, that's because I'm nuff. I let my brake cylinder creep up. We're going to need more automatic brake. Let's give it a little bit more. Oh, you shouldn't have said I perfected it, poor house. You've jinxed me. Fortunately, the signal here is green. You worried? No. Good. Alright, we're holding again. More or less. More or less. The independent brake is part of your air braking system. So if you apply the train brake, that will apply to brakes on your locomotive if you don't bail them off. So they're part of the same braking system. Called an independent brake because you can brake on your locomotive without braking the rest of the train. Interestingly, in the game though, if you apply the independent brake, it does actually seem to slow the train down more, which, yeah, arguably I'd say it shouldn't. So now I think I've got too much air braking on. Because they're finally starting to bite and do some work. So it's interesting how long they take to come on. See you later, NJTE. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
4351 over. Code operative over. Alright, what's your length? You said Pleasant Grove over. Yeah, Pleasant Grove is 6337 is what I'm showing. You do a couple of bits in there. I roll you up there. We've got a trespass and strike up at Del Paso, so can't really get you too far over. Alright guys, get you rolling up to Pleasant Grove, and we'll just hang out there for a little bit over. Yeah, it's gonna be a while. Yeah, just hit them the last 30 minutes over.
Going back to only dynamics and releasing the air.
Just about to the train when they did. So, yeah, bring them out up to Pleasant Grove. I'll put you in a siding to hang out for now. If you need to hold off crossing, feel free over.
Yeah, I agree, poor house. It does. I don't think it should. So I've released the air because it was too much of a brake application for this gradient. You wait for that to charge up again. Meanwhile, we'll just sit on full dynamics and see what happens. Kind of looks like it's holding okay, to be honest. Could probably even let it speed up a little bit since we're allowed to do 45 here. In fact, we might even do that. Let's bring the dynamics back a bit, see how we go. See, told you I'd get you down the hill. Nothing to worry about. Well done, Crazy Dash. I'm not that far behind you. I'm letting this speed up. Because we are allowed to go much faster down here. Yeah, it's about right, Crazy Dash. Does take a while. You can see how the dynamics are getting less and less effective as we speed up. Still speeding up a bit. So there will be another air brake application coming up soon. So I'm switching over from the Professor Matt method back to my method. Thanks, rail driver. You released the brakes. Poor Fed. That was not nice of you. Waiting for that minimum set to actually have an effect if it's going to. But I think I'm going to be braking again shortly. Certainly feels that way. Because the minimum set's not enough. Let's just go up a little bit more.
Hey, the locals are trying to find that guy there at 144. Did you...
See you later, Crazy Dash. Have fun, mate. You don't want to hang around while I run away here? Because I am losing it at the moment. Kind of like my brakes aren't doing anything at all.
Okay, so the ATV was high centered. You hit the ATV, which then flew back and rolled, knocked into him.
taking some more out of it.
About that order.
Correct. Also on the report for RFC. So, I witnessed third party
There's none of this going to emergency stuff. We're going to get this back.
out of the area. Another moment with myself.
I am determined to get this back. Oh, rain. Great.
Got it. Okay, I will update RMCC. Thank you.
There we go. It's coming back. Now, gut feel, I reckon that's wrong. There's two reasons I reckon it's wrong. The first one is a full service has only dropped the brake pipe by, what, 26 pounds? Should have been more like 40 on a full service. And the other reason that I reckon it's wrong is because the previous braking had no effect at all. And it would have. So I think maybe there's still a bit of work to do on the brakes on this.
Got an incident at El Paso. Once it gets cleared up, we'll have a route for you guys if you want to get on the garbage crossing.
And the sad thing is, sooner or later I'm going to have to release this because of full service, you know, it's going to stop me. Alright, Crazy Dash, see you later.
Tires 41, copy that. And two location at the west end of Mormon. You said correct, over. Wanted it in fleet, over. Two location there, over.
Yeah, it's coming down now.
Knox dispatcher out.
Getting some wheel slip in the rain here. Might have to come off the dynamics a bit. I'm releasing the air again. Let the brake pipe charge back up. So chances are earlier, when I released the slightly above minimum, I probably should have kept it. I released it too early. I don't know whether to believe that wheel slip. Is it really wheel slip? Or is the computer just dealing with it and reducing the dynamics a little bit? So before we get too fast, go back to a minimum application. So that's pulled out 8 pounds. And that's not enough to hold it. That's interesting. I would have thought it should be. Alright, let's go a little bit more. Let's try there. No, it's starting to run again. This shouldn't happen. I think I'll take this run back and show it to Ambassador Channel. Just point out some weirdness. Because right now we've got, what, 13 pounds out, so we should have about 26 pounds in the brake cylinders. This should not be running away. Not on a 2% gradient. But clearly it is. And when I increased my brake there, it's saying I'm using 70% of my available braking, but it's only come down to 71 pounds, so it should be a lot more than that. So there is definitely weirdness going on here. Thank you, David Park. I'm coping with some crazy. Because I think this behaviour is not right. Looks like that's going to hold now. So that's a lot of brakes that are on at the moment. But we're holding. Starting to go backwards. Which is going to make stopping interesting in 2.5 miles. So I think I'll leave these brakes the way they are. And we'll just let this do its thing. This is a cement service. It's 14,000 tons, David. And it's this one. Hulak 605.
6 over. 65 forward, over. 65 over.
So now these brakes are starting to have quite a heavy effect. Gut feels just says that's too slow. It's not realistic.
Copy that. 10 cars inspected everything. Nothing sounded weird out of the ordinary there. Looked at our power, looked at everything, and nothing out of the ordinary there. Over. Copy that. 5-6 to mount, over. Head over. Just checking in, see how you're doing, how much longer you got, over. Yeah, I'm almost up to the now, so almost good on my end. Let you know if it's not, when I release my time, consider it good to go. Okay, when you release your time, consider it good and inspected. Copy that. 65, be just a second, finishing up the inspection here, and then I'll get you rolling once he clears up, over. Fire station there.
So now the air brake's biting in hard.
5-6, BNSF 3.
Yeah, 65, go ahead.
Mission take signal back, CPF 143.
But do I release it? That's the question. I think I'm going to have to.
Back and you guys are still stopped, correct? Over.
Yeah, if I don't release it, we're not going to get there. So let's go back with the dynamics. Lots of dynamics. Slowly up. With a mile to go, I think I'll just leave this to run and then I'll just give it a full service application when we're getting close and hope for the best. And hope we don't run out of the playable area before it stops. David, there's nothing to stop you leaving the dynamics applied, but they won't be doing anything because you stopped. I don't think it would be normal practice to leave them that way, though. So it's kind of interesting. Before, when we had this, we had no air brake and we had only the dynamics. It was running away, and now it's holding it. But the gradient's the same, 1.9. Weird. But that's okay. Almost there. No, there's no reason why you can't let it stop on the dynamics. I just wouldn't leave them applied after you have stopped. Come on, bail off. Full service. And at this point I'm going to let the loco brake cylinders actually apply. Dynamics are coming off. It's going to stop a bit early, I think, still. Stopping quicker than I thought it would. Let's release the air. Leave the dynamics on, because it's just going to stop anyway. Just let it roll now. Should. Maybe it won't. There it goes. Bang, crash, crunch, crunch, crash. There's a lot going on in this train. Oh, this is a go via anyway. Nope. I thought it was a stop point. Silly me. Don't want to speed up anyway because I have got a red signal coming up.
This is signal, go ahead.
Yeah, you guys release the time we're out there to take this signal?
Oh, you're talking about track department. He's, I haven't got the time yet myself.
Oh, okay. You guys track inspector, I released my time. You're all good to go on my end. Looks like you got a green light.
I was wondering why we weren't in the yard yet. It hadn't occurred to me that it's just wrong. Yeah, well. When we go past the go via, the path will set and the signal will change anyway. It won't stay red, I don't think. But just in case it does, let's keep going slow for the moment. As all the kids on the school bus go, ah, look at that slow train. Yeah, you're doing alright, mate. How about you? I think we'll find out. We've got a couple of miles to go in a moment. Three miles. Do indeed. Alright, let's pick up some speed.
7UP8158. The inbound or the outbound yet? And I've got two moves to the east end waiting. Is it possible? Can I get you guys to pull down towards Antelope before you start trying to log in the PTC and all that, just to clear the east end here?
We've got some exams coming up, David. I always find it a bit difficult to study for exams too.
4408 is operative. It's got lights when you're ready.
Yeah, I guess there's a reason people are paid the big bucks to drive this stuff in real life. It is hard. The signals have all gone green like I thought they would. And quite happily just let this creep up now. Favourite American freight route or just favourite freight route, David? I like this one for the scenario planner opportunities. I think it misses the mark a bit on the local freights because they would have had an opportunity to do multiple setouts and switching along the way, but they don't do it. That would be really nice. HSC has got local runs and the main runs, which I like. Clinchfield. It's probably the prettiest of the routes. It's got a lot of functionality to it, but it's got some things that... We're pruning some trees here. It's got some things that I don't like driving for 2 hours and then suddenly coming across a red signal. And probably half my Clinchfield runs end in spads. Because by 2 hours you just sort of stop paying attention. So gameplay-wise, Clinchfield probably is the favourite. I also like the old F7s, so it's a good thing. This one's good if you like long hauls. This one's the first direct competitor with Run 8.
Hey, straight through, got the lines pulling me out already. Straight through, keep it rolling.
I was hoping to get another run in today, but I underestimated how long this was going to take, so this will be our last one today. Next week I'm planning to do Steam. Coming up after that, we'll might do some trams. Haven't done any trams on stream yet. And there's a bunch of new stuff for TS Classic. And normally I wouldn't ask, but since I'm so close, if anybody's got any mates that you think might like this content, send them a link. We're really close to the 1,000. Well, Save should come out next week. Welcome to San Bernardino, folks. So we should be back to having a save game again. And I do like that it's a toggle, so for the people who hate it, they can turn it off. For the people who like it, they can turn it on and take the risks that come with it. I know they've done a bunch of work to try and get rid of the endemic issues, so what they've got left now is all the route-based issues. So where it worked for you before, it'll probably still work for you now. And it is a classic example of why you shouldn't really react to the noisy people. Because if you react to the noisy people and you ignore the silent majority, you upset the silent majority and they become noisy people. Yeah, well, I think on Cajon they've probably helped with the short run concept because for the most part the long runs are there, but the same long run is broken up into shorter runs as well. So you can do it as a long run in one sitting if you want to, if you've got the 3 hours, or you can do 2 or 3 shorter ones. It's funny, isn't it? After all that time of biting this thing down the hill, now you've got a power to get into the yard.
So this one is quite a challenging one to drive, but I think some of the things that are happening are quite right. So I can't say I've ever braked a train this long, but I have braked shorter trains, and this doesn't quite feel right. I don't like the way it runs away like that. So if you did brake release, brake release, brake release, brake release, brake release, you should expect that kind of runaway, and that would be realistic. And you wouldn't be able to apply her again until you'd released everything and recharged. But what was happening there is just a bit weird. I think there'll be a mixture, Poorhouse. So for American stuff, I would expect longer routes. But I think there'll be a mixture around the world of what we get. And you notice it's coming in time to do some shunting, so of course naturally it's pissing down with rain, because that's what life's like when you're doing shunting. I'd love to see some local freights come into American stuff, where they deliver to many industries along the line, because it's a really common thing. And it wouldn't be that hard to make it work in the game, because you just give people control over the local industry points. And you just run it essentially as a free roam. There's quite a few shunting services in this one. There's the big free roam scenario, but there's quite a few services for it too. For the SD40, not so much for this beast, but this beast in reality wouldn't do shunting. Coming into the throat into the final yard now. This one's alright. This one's yellow. See? Yellow. Now, what usually happens to me coming into this yard is I underestimate how long it'll actually take to stop. And then I go out of the playable area, because the playable area, the signal's a long way from where you're supposed to stop, but the playable area ends almost right after it. And you get the big white screen. You have left the playable area. No medal for you. Thank you. Come again. Of course, the back of the train's still going uphill, which is why we're slowing down, even though we're on a down gradient now. I am using a thing called railroadradio.net. Let me find you the thing. So go to railroadradio.net, find yourself one of the things. So we're running BNSF Central Valley, which is pretty close to where we are. And then you get these and it gives you a file that you load into. I use VLC for it. And you do hear interesting stuff. I'm actually going to have to power, aren't I? Otherwise, we're not getting to the end of this siding. Yeah, it's pissing down with rain, Poorhouse. Absolutely delightful yard weather. Exactly the way it should be. Perfectly realistic. Coming into a yard, it always rains. "900 yards to go. Why am I in dynamic brakes? Couldn't go that far. Nearly there. Five was a bit too much. Four's not quite enough. Yes, it is. $300 odd yards to go. See you later, David Park. I shall be joining you on the see you later front in a few moments, I think. See how well this works, eh? Ah, it's not too bad. Good. Alrighty then. Thanks very much for watching today, folks. If you're not subscribed, please do so. If you'd like to see more content like this, pop out lots of short videos too, not just these monster long streams. And I hope you enjoy the content. Let me know. Feedback's always welcome. I will have, in fact, I do have some Train Sim World keys to give away. Train Sim World 3. Not going to do it this week, but I'll start doing that next week. I've got a bunch for Steam. I've got some for Xbox, and I think I've got one Europe and one USA for PlayStation. So, and I think it's USA and everybody else in reality, the way that works. But yeah, if you haven't got the game yet and you want it, well, the first opportunity will be next week. So we're going to be doing some Steam next week, still on TSW3, and the week after that, I think we might do some trams. Sounds like fun. Alrighty, have fun, folks. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye now. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I always like to get your feedback in the form of likes and comments because they help me understand what you want. Give the channel a subscribe and click on the tinkly things so you don't miss out on any new stuff. And thanks for your ongoing support. And please, be safe out there.